Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I am Daniel Gonzalez. As always, folks, the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They are not the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
Sure aren't.
Before we get started, guys, I want to talk to you about our sponsor, CBD Living Water. I've said it on this show, pretty much every show now. Water's all I drink, guys. It's I don't know what the hell it is about me. My entire life, all I've really liked drinking is water. Fruit juices, Gatorades, sodas, all that stuff just like always made me thirstier. I don't know why. I'm like a freak child. I've always loved drinking water. So it's really the only thing that's ever like quenched my thirst, right? And so when we started talking about, we were doing this thing for like a year and a half before we even started talking about getting a sponsor.
Right.
And when we were approached by CBD Living Water to sponsor the program, we jumped at the opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's a great company. I've been using CBD products for years for the pharmaceutical effects. So to have a water that I can take with me to work, the job, you sweat through your uniform almost every day. We had that cardiac arrest where we were doing CPR on the guy for 30 minutes. I sweat through my uniform there. We had a structure fire, crazy ass car accident that we're going to talk about today. The guys that were there sweat through their uniforms. So you got to replenish that stuff. And having CBD Living Water on the rig for me to be able to drink throughout the day is awesome. It basically stimulates your CB1 and CB2 receptors. It stimulates your immune system. It's alkaline water. It's just all around good for you.
Yeah, so many positive effects.
Yeah, definitely, man. So check them out. They are a great company. They've got a lot of different CBD products that we're going to be talking about in future episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But I can vouch for this water, guys. I love it. I love the way it makes me feel. It's good for you, and it replenishes all your fluids and your electrolytes and whatnot. So check them out. You can find them at CBD Living Water on Instagram. And that's it, man. We're happy to be partnered with them.
CBDLivingWater.com. Want to talk to you guys about Planted. PLNTD, no vowels, very clever. Planted. It is a sparkling chlorophyll water drink. Me and Daddy both been talking about the benefits of chlorophyll. We use it. It's basically green plant food, plant sun energy converted for you, for your benefit.
It's great for you.
Yeah, it gives you great energy, clean energy, smart energy. It's an antioxidant. Makes everything run better for your system. You know what I mean? Especially if you're an athlete, if you sweat a lot, if you exude a lot of energy, you have high energy demand, Planted is the drink for you. And it doesn't taste nasty.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah, it actually kind of tastes like Sprite. I dig it, all right? I drink a lot of green drinks. You'd be surprised to know that most green drinks, ton of sugar.
Yeah.
Look in the back of a green naked juice, 60 grams of carbs, bro. All right? Planted, none of that, man. 20 calories, all right? Best thing you can drink.
It's good stuff.
All right, on.
Go and check them out, Planted.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we got a doozy of a show today. We just had a show about mass casualty incidents.
Yeah.
And then there was a crazy mass casualty incident right after that in LA. Tragic car accident. I think 6 dead. 7 injured.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple of crazy accidents in the past couple days.
Quite a few. But at all of these scenes, there were bystanders. There was a crowd. And the bystanders in all of these cases are the first people there.
Yeah, man. It's, anytime we get on scene, anytime we get any incident, okay, when we pull on scene, you almost can't trust what pops up on the screen. Like somebody calls 911, right? You get a 911 dispatcher. They go, "Hi, 911, how can I help you? What's the address of your emergency?" Right? And you tell, usually someone's like, "Oh my God, ma'am, hold on. What's the address? Where are you at?" Because they want to get somebody going right now, right?
Exactly.
And they can't get someone going if they don't know where you are, right? So that's why the first question they always ask is, "What's the address of your emergency?" So for any of you out there who have never called 911, if you're ever in the situation where you do, just know the first thing you want to say to a dispatcher when you call 911 is the address of the emergency, because what they're going to do is they're going to push a fucking button and get somebody going to that address. Okay. We had a a program on the LFD for a little while. It was a quick launch, like fast launch program, where they just like, boom, whatever the call was, they just sent an engine right now. And then the dispatcher was talking, and when they figured out what was going on, then they sent they sent more rigs, or they sent, they canceled the engine and sent an 800 or whatever the hell. Tell the dispatcher where the incident is. And then we'll get it, like if we're out having lunch or something like that, right? And we get a call on the radio, Rescue 6-3 on the radio, respond to blah, 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 Wall Grove to a traffic accident. And they'll give us a timeout and all that stuff, right? Then we go and get on the rig. We have to push en route on the button. Right. And there's a screen in there. Yeah. Gives us all the information about the incident, okay? The address, the cross street, the cadastral map coordinates. So we have these special maps that we can look something up on. We do have, maps on the computer on there and stuff like that. But it'll give us the time of the incident, what type of incident it is. If there's any notes from the dispatcher, something going on that's abnormal, it'll be in there. It's all highlighted and stuff like that, right? You can trust that 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe 60% of the time. 40% of the time you show up and it's nothing like what the hell you got on the screen. Okay. Yeah. You pull up and you look and you're like, oh, what the hell's going on? It's all, you're not only a paramedic or a firefighter, you're also a little bit of a detective when you pull up. Yeah. Especially when something illegal has happened.
Oh, yeah.
Or there's something that somebody might go to jail for. Mm-hmm. People don't want to talk, man.
No.
Or if you're in like a gang area or something like that.
Yeah.
You could have somebody shot. Everybody saw it. Nobody will say
Nobody will say
Nobody wants to say
all.
anything
Yep.
about what happened. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you show up, and that's a trip, man, being a 20-year guy now and thinking back to when I was a 2-3 year guy. Or like going through paramedic school or something like that.
Yeah.
Driving to an incident and seeing the screen on the computer and thinking like, oh shit, okay, what are all the things I have to do? What's the list of shit? Oh, car into a house. Okay, I want to, I got to make sure the gas is shut off. Actually, what seat am I sitting in? What are my responsibilities for this position that I'm in? Right. I got to take care of this. I got to take care of that. I want to get a protection line. You're running all this shit down your head, right? At a certain point in your career, you realize that 60% of the or 40% of the time it ain't even what the screen says, right? So now it's like cruising a call. It's like I'm finishing my dinner, or I'm like looking at whatever on my phone or something like that. Until we pull up and I look around and see what's going on, I don't trust anything, right?
Yeah,
that's where bystanders come in.
Yeah,
right. When I pull up, first thing I'm looking for is the dude or the lady that's standing in the street frantically going, like, like I'm not going to see you, right? Yeah. I get it. It's exciting. You're freaked out. I get it. There's always somebody standing in the street, doing jumping jacks, waving their hands, standing in front of the ring.
And that's good.
And listen, people, I know it's all, tragedies and crazy shit that we respond to, but you got to understand that we respond to this stuff 14, 15 times a day, right? Yeah. And the caller jumping in the middle of the street is like one of those things that's like, oh, there we go. It's like, that's like, okay, all right, we see you, before we actually pull up and find out what's going on. Usually people will stand there in front of the rig waving. It's like, I can't park if you're telling people, get out of the way, So then you pull over and then it's bystanders usually that are telling you got to get a picture. A lot of times I'll ask, who in a situation like the one we're talking about today, it's pretty obvious what happened, but a lot of times we'll pull up and I'll ask, who called 911?
Yeah.
I did. Okay, come here. What happened? Why'd you call 911? Okay, well, and they start telling me, or I'll go, hey, start from the very beginning and tell me what happened, right? Because people get so excited and worked up, especially when it's something emergent. We do it all the time. Normal people don't do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a super exciting thing that happens.
This is your time when you're a bystander and you're in one of these incidents.
Especially when you ran down the street, what I mean? Got inside, grabbed a hose, you know what I mean? And then they're interviewing the damn neighbor. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that one accident, the baby flew out into right into somebody's hands almost.
You want to get your story out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so bystanders are a great resource to find out what the hell happened, especially a bystander that wasn't directly involved in the incident, right?
Oh, yeah.
Has no emotional, nothing like emotionally invested in,
Yeah,
in
they
the
just
incident,
saw it.
right?
Yeah, and they can
Dude,
tell you
come
what
here.
happened.
Tell me,
Yeah.
start from the very beginning. Tell me what happened, right? Now break it down. Okay, now I got an idea. Now I know what the hell I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
Okay, and now I can devise a game plan of how I'm going to deal with this incident. Okay, it's the same thing for fire incidents. Okay, every once in a while there'll be a story in the news about like, oh my God, look at what these firefighters are making every year, and they'll list like the highest paid dudes on the fire department, right?
Yeah.
Dudes that work literally every day of the year, anywhere in the city to fill up spots that have to be filled, right? Paramedics that work everywhere. Oh, look at how much these guys get paid. Oh my God, they're making, this much, that much. Holy shit. Well, do you realize that we have to be prepared for everything at any given moment?
Yeah.
We have to be prepared to know how to operate every piece of emergency equipment on that truck. We have to know how to troubleshoot every piece of emergency equipment, because if you're trapped in your car and your engine compartment's on fire and I go to stick those jaws of life in there and the damn things won't open, I need to have to know in a second how to troubleshoot that and fix that freaking problem to save your life, right?
Yeah.
So those like stories and shit, like in the Times, they always trip me out because it's like, F you, man. We train all the time to be prepared for anything to save your life. Yeah. Whether it's a drowning in a backyard pool, whether it's a car that went through your house, whether it's a plane that crashed on your fucking house, we need to be able to pull up, look at the scenario and go, this is what you do. You guys go do this. You guys do that, and do it now. Yeah. We've talked in the past about how fast shit happens on scene of emergencies.
Yeah, you have to be fast. You have to be right.
You have to. And time is of the essence, man, in a lot of these scenarios. And so this incident that we're going to talk about today was one of those incidents. It's not a cut and dry. It's not a cookie cutter incident. There's a lot of different aspects to it that made it a very extremely challenging incident. I want to introduce our guests today. Fabian Martin, and Beto Martin. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Danny.
Fabian and Beto. Well, let me start off. Fabian is a friend. Fabian's actually married to a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and we actually all went to high school together at the same time. We didn't know each other in high school, but later in life, we both have kids, playing at the same little league and stuff like that, and that's how we met. We've been friends and hanging out and dealing with baseball stuff and stuff like that. It's great, man. They live literally 2 doors down from where this incident happened.
100 feet.
Okay. This incident has been all over the news lately. There's no sense in beating around the bush about it. We're talking about the Anne Heche incident. Yeah.
Multiple sources confirm with us Heche was driving at the time of the crash. She was rushed to the hospital after being badly burned in the crash. Witnesses described what they saw shortly after Heche was rescued. In fact, one witness tells us he rushed to the scene and tried to help her.
Huge incident. And like you said, they live there. They're neighbors. They're bystanders. They're not firefighters. They're not first responders.
Not trained in anything, right? You guys aren't like EMTs or nothing like that. Just average, everyday Joe, just like everybody else out there listening, if you're not a firefighter listening. And so just to kind of set the groundwork for what happened that night, Anne Heche is an actress, obviously. She had a lot of stardom in the, late 90s, 2000s, right? Yeah. She was in Donnie Brasco. Yeah. You know what I mean? 6 Days, 7 Nights.
Married to Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah. Well-known actress, A- list actress for a number of years
for a while,
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Known to have a little problem with drinking.
Known to have a little problem
abuse.
With a few different things. Yeah. Substance abuse. There was a Scientology deal. She walked up to someone's house saying she was waiting for a spaceship one time, right?
There was a little psych issue possibly. Like that. That's right. So a little checkered past there.
And listen, everything we're talking about here, there's nothing that's not in the public domain that we're going to be talking about here today.
Exactly. Okay? And that's another thing to note when we're saying that we're talking to bystanders.
Yeah.
We won't have like the same restrictions that you might have if you're somebody on the job talking about an actual incident.
So listen, man, actors are people just like anybody else. They have their vices, they have their problems too. And there's video of her a little further down in Venice. If anyone's from like the West Side or the Venice area, the apartments down by Lincoln Boulevard that used to be the projects when we were growing up. They're now $5,000.
Yeah, they were. We could talk about that too for a second. The gentrification of Venice, because these are humongous apartment complexes.
It's
That's
a
what we call it,
project, man.
projects.
It's the projects.
But your Nino lived there.
Yeah. But this still doesn't change the fact that they were projects, bro. Pretty much.
Well, it's affordable housing now because they stopped demolishing the backside of Lincoln until all they did put lipstick on a pig.
Yeah,
and
pretty much. Yeah.
And that's a trip, man. Because we go to calls in there all the time, and they're the same damn apartments.
Exactly.
We used to play
They just
hide and
have
seek
a
in
little-
those apartments.
They have lipstick,
You
man.
could, because it was huge. Yeah. But it wasn't officially like public housing.
It wasn't.
Projects.
But they
it
were
was
projects.
just a big giant.
It was free
giant
reign.
complex.
It was free reign projects because we weren't fenced in.
Yeah.
exactly.
Kinda. Yeah. And when we were all growing
very,
up there, Venice was
very-
more hood.
Very affordable apartments.
It was
Yes.
the east side
Let's say
of
that.
Lincoln, so we're
Now you can live there if you got $4,000 a month or whatever, $5,000 a month. Anyway,
Crazy.
there's video of her. She almost hit a pedestrian, a biker, in like the garage alley area of those
Right.
apartments. Crashed into a garage door. That's when people started taking video. A security guard tried to stop her, and she jetted off down the alley. Okay.
She almost hit somebody else.
In those videos, you can clearly see a bottle of alcohol in the middle of her console. Where that complex is and where that alley is, when she zooms down that alley the way she was going, she winds up popping out on Penmar Avenue. Okay.
Right.
From there, it's a quick dog leg onto Preston Way, where you guys live, right?
Straight shot.
She blew Glendon because she had to pass a stop sign first.
Yeah.
So it didn't even
2 blocks.
exist. So she blew 2 blocks
Damn.
before she got to Walgrove.
So she blows, and there's and I have some videos here. We'll put them on the we'll try to see if we can add them into
to the episode.
YouTube. But there's a ring video of her
Shoom. Yeah.
flying by,
Yeah.
going down the street.
Mini Cooper.
In a Mini Cooper.
Mhm.
What happens is she comes down and Preston Way tees into Walgrove Avenue. Okay, Walgrove Boulevard
Walgrove. Avenue.
Avenue. It's a T intersection. Okay,
Right.
There's a house right at the end of Preston Way. There's a big hedge on the house. There's about maybe 3 foot rock wall underneath the hedge, right? She was going fast enough down Preston, never hit the brakes, to hit the curb. She's in a Mini Cooper. That little bit of lift from hitting the curb launched her over the 3-foot wall and straight through the hedge that was at the front of the property, at the sidewalk. She blew through the hedge, through the front wall of the house, through a supporting wall inside the house, and into the back room of the house. That's how fast she was going.
Wow. Mini Cooper.
In a Mini Cooper. That thing caught air, never touched the rocks, man.
Remember they used to have those Red Bull commercials where they were like flipping Mini Coopers and like spinning them and everything.
Actually,
they had
girls
the.
had Mini Coopers.
It's exactly what it was like,
That's
dude.
what I'm
Red
saying,
Bull on
dude.
it.
Like
Yeah.
a Hot Wheels, bro.
This is what I'm talking about.
She hit that
man.
curb, caught air, went through the hedge, and into this
30,
house.
40 feet in.
Man.
So let's kind of start from there. There's a response from that, okay, from the fire department that we'll get into. But I want to kind of start right there. Take me back to that day. What were you guys doing, and how did you even realize that there was a car speeding down the road?
Typically, like when I was getting ready to go on vacation. So we were just in the back getting ready. We live in a back house and we hear some screeching and we're like, oh crap, here comes another accident down on Palms and
Happens
Walgrove.
all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Palms
Yeah.
and Walgrove.
Just you're not supposed to make a right turn. It's such a tight corner. People do it all the time. They get wrecked.
Yeah.
And then we didn't hear a screeching or it stopped. And we're like, okay, they missed it. And then literally like 2 seconds after that, you just hear this loud boom. And we actually felt it 4 houses down in the back house. We felt like it was like just a solid boom.
Yeah.
Like, all right, something. Let's go be chismosos and
Yeah,
let's,
Yeah, you
let's go
can
see
yeah.
what's going on. You know, we're over there.
Hey, your house shakes. You can go look.
You know, we're over there like penguins just waddling down the street. And then that's where I catch my brother. And then he starts telling me what he saw.
Yeah.
So what you saw it actually happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, I was helping out my dad. I just happened to be there again because they were heading off to San Diego. So I stopped by and, see him off and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm on the clock, so stop by, say what's up. And of course, like anybody that's out in front of their house, hear somebody driving fast down the street. My kids, the neighbors' kids,
Sure, yeah.
anybody's
Yeah.
kids. They're
It's a
concerned
residential
about,
area, man.
It's not a big street at all. Yeah, it's a little street.
It is. It's a really little street. I mean, cars park on one side, and then that's it.
Mhm.
And so you hear this car just, it sounds like a rocket, you know, and something's dragging behind it, something, I don't know. And of course, like anybody's gonna try to tell that person to slow down, It's like this is residential area. So I peek out on the side of my van where I was standing and put my hand out to sort of be like, slow the fuck down, you know?
Sure.
And sure enough, man, she just blew right by me, and I was like, this, the person just had no regard for anybody's safety, nothing. And my head just travels along with that car, blows that stop sign, and into the air it goes.
Blows everything.
Back behind those bushes and disappears. Gone. It was like nothing
surreal,
happened.
huh?
It was like just happened like I was watching Fast 5 or one of those Fast and Furious movies. Like, it's just gone.
It just went through a portal.
Yeah. Cut. Action. Next scene.
Like,
And-
did I just see that?
That was great. Guys,
Yeah.
you got
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Put in the can. Let's go.
Man.
Was your
And
dad
that's
out there
when-
too?
Yeah. And my brother comes out, my mom comes out, everybody comes out, neighbors come out asking, hey, we heard something. What happened? A car just crashed into the house.
So now, Fabian, when you came out and you look over, could you even tell
No,
that anything had happened?
no. I
Because
thought
it blew those. But
Yeah.
you guys got a picture like the
large
rock
hedge.
wall, and then it's like a 6-7 feet of hedge in
8-foot
front.
hedge. Yeah.
So it just looks like it disappeared.
It split the hedges,
Exactly.
and then the hedges went back, and it almost looked like nothing happened.
And that's
Yeah, from
exactly
the
what it
street.
was. The
Oh,
neighbor was
that's
like, we heard something
crazy.
crash. I was like, where is it? It's in the house.
Yeah.
What house? Well, you see those bushes? It's in there. In the garage? No, it's in the house. Like, no, you cannot see it. Like, it just disappeared
Damn.
because of those
And there was
bushes.
no fire or smoke because we know that fire erupted later
Yeah.
in
Yeah, a
the
little bit
incident,
later
but
than
at
that,
that
yeah.
point there was no fire or
Nothing.
anything like that.
I still thought the accident was still at the corner because I didn't see a car.
Oh, really?
I just saw people standing at the corner, maybe at a distance.
Yeah.
And my brother's like, no, it's in the house. It's
Man.
literally parked
It went
inside the
straight.
house.
You'd be surprised how often that happens, dude. Where like, I remember one time I was working at 61s, and there's a lot of like it's like a Jewish community, right? There's a lot of like Middle Eastern
Yeah.
stuff like that. We would run into a lot of like people that had like diplomatic immunity because they were like
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
like
they have
Saudi
the console
there's like
plates, yeah.
1,000 Saudi princes.
It's
right?
the Miracle Mile area of LA. Like
Yeah,
by,
Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
Anyway, we pull up to this traffic accident. We got it as a traffic accident. We pull up middle of the night, and there's nobody there. We pull up to the address. There's no car. There's no nothing. It's like regular ass cars in the driveway, and there's a couple people in the street, and we're like, park the rig, and we get out, and we're like, well, hey, what's going on? Oh, this guy crashed his car. What car? Well, there was a house, and then the house next door had these tall hedges. And what happened was the guy, they were speeding down the street, and there's a big dip. He hit the dip, caught air,
Yeah.
flew over the car that was in the driveway of this house, through the hedges, and landed on the front lawn of the house next door. Well, there are hedges all over the place. You
Yeah.
couldn't tell.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell that anything had happened.
Yeah.
But people these days, man, first of all, cars go so much faster now.
Yeah.
They're so much quieter.
Mm-hmm.
That people, you get a couple drinks in you and you don't realize how freaking fast you're going, man. And people, the speed that people are hitting these accidents with, the one on La Brea, this
yeah.
one here,
It's insane.
it's crazy the shit that can happen with
Yeah.
the car when it's going that damn fast, man. What triggered you guys to actually like walk to the house and realize that the gravity of what had happened here? Because did you run there right away, like running down the street?
No, it was more so I seen the neighbor going in. He's a little bit older than I, and
Yeah,
me and my brother
can't have
being,
it.
Can't let him
my
go,
brother and
yeah.
I being younger, of course the hesitation of man, he deserves every bit of what had just happened because of the speed they were going.
Had you thought of the people that live in the house?
Yeah, that's
at that point?
actually what got me to
Yeah.
to change my mind about my actions.
So take me to that moment. You guys start walking up to the house to see what's going on, and what happens then?
we're all looking for the car. Everybody's looking for the car. Where'd it go? And we get to the corner, you know, and my brother and I were talking, and my mother and my father. We were like, we just can't believe what we just saw, you know, what happened. And the neighbors are going in there, you know. We had a couple of neighbors that, you know, started trying to call 911. Everybody's trying to, hey, call 911, call 911.
Sure.
You know, we don't see no fire or anything, you know. And my brother looks at me, and I look at him, and we're sort of a little hesitant still.
Sure, yeah.
And the neighbors going in, and they're like, oh.
Are they going in through the hole or through the
they're
door?
going,
Okay,
that's all it is. It's just a big old gaping
just a
hole.
big
You can
hole
see
through
from
the wall, right?
corner,
Yeah.
you know, from where we're standing. And I'm like, well, we got to go in. This neighbor's going in. We're younger, you know, whatever it is, you know, let's see if we can help them out.
Sure.
And my mother's like, no, don't go in there. You know, you don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. And then, so of course, you know, little brother, big brother, you know, we got to defend each other, help each other out in every moment, me and this guy. You
Sure,
know?
yeah.
And so I jump into action, I guess you can call it, right? I was wearing my cape that day. Yeah. I might as well. And I get up in there, and, you know, I can't step into there. I have to actually take the steps that are leading up to the house, right? Because it was literally like 3 feet high.
The porch.
The porch.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much what it was. You know, she skipped that wall there.
Yeah.
And so I managed to get in there, and then we started looking around, and we get the neighbor out and pass him over to my brother. And
Now, the neighbor was in the back of the house, right?
the neighbor
The side.
was,
So it's literally split. If you were to split the house down the line, she was on the left side of the house, and the car went on the right side of the house.
Yeah, like
so
through
literally,
the...
like if you
push
were to
the
open
couch
the,
of the way.
if you were to open the car door, you would walk out of the car door
Into the
and into
kitchen.
the room
that
to
she
where
was in.
the lady
Oh, my
was in.
God.
The-
Wow.
Wow.
The luck, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So the TV, just imagine right at the front door is her TV, her TV stands and whatnot. Where the car went through was literally the living room where she watches TV.
Holy
So that
smokes.
couch is right there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and where that car landed, you know, it's just amazing that nobody did.
And she went through that exterior wall and through an interior wall as well,
her
right?
Car, half of the car was already into it. I believe it was the laundry area.
Were you guys able to look into the car at all and see if she was...
Actually the neighbor, you know, we're sort of, everybody was directing each other. First and foremost,
the neighbor was unharmed.
Yeah,
We're
everybody
like
was unharmed.
just you
First
kind
and
of just like
foremost.
feel like a team. Like
Yeah.
you know, you see your neighbor in there
Who's
that
got the way.
who's lived there, you know, as long as my parents have.
Sure.
So we knew each other. And he's like, all right, you know, go over here. Let's go over here. So we kind of like started directing everybody to try to see where we can help out.
And at that point, you guys knew that somebody had already called 911.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By that time, a few
We're
minutes have already passed.
5
Yeah.
minutes in, 10
Yeah.
minutes in, or what?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did
you know,
you-
it didn't feel like anything that was needing to be rushed because we seen the
Still
home.
no fire.
Again,
Yeah.
still no fire.
Right.
The resident living there, she was worried about her pets and stuff, and
The driver
you know,
was
trying to get him out.
talking
Yeah.
somewhat.
Well, we
Oh,
didn't hear
really?
the driver at the time yet. So then, you know, first and foremost, again, it was the homeowner, you know,
Sure,
or the
yeah.
or the
That's
resident
your main
of the area.
concern.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the main concern, right? And so, being that I was in the house with my brother in flip flops, you know, he didn't get in because there was a lot of debris and whatnot,
Yeah.
you know. And there was another neighbor, one of the girls. She was trying to. Her main focus was on her, on the resident, and
Sure.
then the other neighbor main focus was on the driver.
Okay.
And so I'm standing there just looking, you know, just see, you know, where am I gonna go?
Where can you
next?
fit in? Yeah.
Where could where do I fit in exactly?
Is there smoke or anything from the
No,
car?
no,
or
there
nothing?
was nothing. So he's just like, all right, cool, everything's fine.
Yeah.
We just make sure
There
everybody's
was
calm.
no rush or
you know.
urgency. No, of course there's urgency, but there wasn't
Yeah.
like
It wasn't life or
The
death.
building's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
to fall on us, you know.
Sure,
Let's get
yeah,
out
yeah.
of here, you know, because if of course, you know, that's not going through our minds at the time, you know, but these are structural walls here,
Yeah.
you know, and we're not even thinking about. I mean, if there is a gas leak, you know, how it's just a spark.
Sure.
And you're done. Everybody that's standing within that radius there.
Could you guys smell any fuel
No,
or gasoline or
nothing,
anything like that?
nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
nothing.
Yeah. So, you know, first thing, get the resident out.
Yeah.
You know, we start directing the resident out. You know, she gets her pet. She's worried about some other pets and whatnot. My brother takes, you know, help from the outside again. He's in his flip flops. He walks, you know, he's still there fighting and everything, right? So then he walks her out, you know, down to the sidewalk, and they're nice and, you know, nice and calm over there. And then down the street, one of the other gentlemen, he's, you know, trying to figure out how to get in the car, and we're like, let's try the back door. He opens up the back door and he starts speaking to her, and, you know, she's not there really. It's just like gibber, you know,
Sure,
like,
Yeah.
you know, sort of, you know, like slurred, you know, speech and whatnot. So like, oh, okay, yeah, she's on a good one, you know,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Mm.
And then a few seconds more into it, we start seeing flames So I shout,
from
fire.
underneath the car.
Right in front of the vehicle.
Okay.
Right in front of the vehicle,
okay.
you can see the flames coming up.
And she's still in the car.
And she's still in the car.
And it started off. I think it started off as just like white grayish smoke.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like plastic. So that's why I think it was maybe gas or something, that the paper or something, because it wasn't burnt plastic or anything like that. It's like, okay, we got a fire. So then like, all right, let's go get a fire extinguisher. So I'm running down the block asking everybody, does anybody got a fire extinguisher?
Sure.
And then my dad had one. He had just little, tall can.
Yeah.
And I run back.
One for like made for cars, basically.
For like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
A little 10 second.
You'd be surprised
blast.
how well those things work though, man.
Right.
When you really need it,
In the meanwhile, while we're doing that, while my brother's doing that, I managed to find a hose right in front of the house, pulled it up, started the water, and I managed to get some of that flame down, because that was my main concern. If the flame's starting, she's still in the car, let's get that particular flame down, and let's try to keep sort of whatever control out of that. And once the flame, I yelled out, there's a fire, guys. Let's figure this out. What are you guys gonna do? Everybody started to come out of the house. I stood inside, continued to put water on the flames until try to see, hopefully the fire department shows up in time.
We have a good photo of that too. We'll try to add that into the YouTube as well, so that you can, so you can be famous, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it on the news, man. What's the deal with that?
And him in the flip flops.
And him. Oh no, his story's in there.
He's running away in the photo, and you're there with the hose. So I don't know what they're doing.
No, well, I mean, from the outside view, it's bushes, and then you got this guy in flip flops running out with the
carrying the old lady out. He's got her over his shoulder.
Fire extinguisher, guys.
Yeah.
And then running back into the house, in the burning house. They're like, oh my god, look at this guy.
Meanwhile,
He's
your
the
hat's
real
on
hero.
fire inside.
Meanwhile, I'm in there like choking
you're doing
and everything.
CPR.
You're cracking open a Mini Cooper. Yeah,
exactly.
Man. Okay, so you got a hose on the front of the
flame,
car, trying to beat the flames back, but she's still in the driver's seat.
She's still in the driver's seat. Yeah.
Is she making any effort to get out, or
No,
she's just
not at
babbling,
all.
or what?
No.
Not at all.
No
I don't think
shit.
she could. I don't even think she
Was
could
she
be
still
pulled out.
behind the wheel, or was
She's
she?
still behind the wheel. Yeah. The way that the wall collapsed alongside, it was on both sides, the driver's side door and the passenger side door. So there was no way that she was going to get out without any help.
Yeah.
Oh, so she couldn't open the doors either
She
way.
couldn't open the door. No.
Okay.
The back door was obviously the way in and to get in or out.
But
And that's the way that I thought, by directing, the first thought was exactly like, he was saying, what direction do you give the fire department when they show up? What kind of instructions do you give them? Hey, we're over here. Like, all right, what's going on? Who called 911?
Yeah.
Type of deal. What information can you give them to best help them?
At this
fight
point now, are
situation.
you guys like, where the hell's this fire engine?
No,
Where
I
the
felt like
fuck is that?
They actually, by the time the fire started and started getting a little crazier, they showed up.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I still think it was.
What would you say? 7-8 minutes?
Yeah.
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 After the fire started,
Yeah.
under
By
10
the time
minutes.
we
they were
figured that everybody was calling, they were there pretty.
Do you feel like she understood her situation though at all?
No.
No.
Like to her, she was like
No.
still driving.
I don't even think she was aware that there was a fire.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't even think she was aware what she actually even crashed into.
Nothing,
I don't
yeah.
think anybody was really, because it was just,
completely checked out.
it was just remarkable that nobody got injured. Somebody did get injured, but not to the point to where they, we had to carry people
She
out.
thought you were Harrison Ford.
Yeah, right?
Like,
Exactly.
oh,
Her
Harrison.
plane just crashed.
You're funny,
It was the first day and the first night.
Hey, that is pretty crazy. They both crashed within like a block of each other.
Yeah.
Like
Harrison Ford
car.
crashed at the golf course.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, man.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I
He
forgot
made
about
an
that.
emergency
Yeah.
landing
The
on
golf
that
course there.
Full
replica
circle.
plane.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, man. We had this training one time. When we get a call, we're supposed to be in the rig and out the front door within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't matter if you're taking a shit, you're in the shower, you're in the back cooking ribs, whatever, dude.
Drop and go.
You be on the rig and out the door within 60 seconds. Okay. We're an emergency service. They had this training one time where they played, it was a double drowning. These two kids, the parents came out and found the two kids floating in the pool, pulled them out, called 911. The one parent's doing CPR on one, the grandma's doing CPR on the other, and they're frantic and they're playing this for us. And I'm thinking to myself as we're listening to this training, like, why are you guys making me listen to this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got enough trauma in my life. I've seen enough shit where I've got enough stuff in my head that I'm battling to hold back and suppress and just stuff it way down, because I'm a man.
Yeah.
And why are you playing this shit for me? And that's what the point of the training was, to show, like, all this shit that's going on with the dispatcher before we show up. Because even though we're supposed to be on the rig and out the door within 60 seconds, sometimes you are taking a shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are in the shower.
Cut it short.
Sometimes,
wipe it deep. Let's go.
Sometimes you've been running all day and you haven't ate anything and you just sat down to eat and you get to run and you're like, shit, and you're shoveling 5 or 6,
real quick.
Spoonfuls down before you run out to this incident. Sometimes in some parts of the city, you're just got a lazy dude that was working there and he's taking a nap and he's just taking his sweet ass time and goes and takes a piss and takes his time to get to the rig. Sometimes that happens.
Wow.
So the point of the training was, this is what's happening while you're taking your piss. This is what's happening while you're taking 3 more bites of your food. You know what I mean? That was the point. Get your ass up and get to the fucking call.
Those seconds count.
So it's interesting to hear you guys talk about that because, like, for us, we get it as a traffic accident, car into a house. Oh shit, cool. Car into a house, you kick it up a little bit more, right? Guys might be running to the rig and shit, right? Like with the structure fire or something like that. But you don't always give that same like, oh shit, there's a fire. Somebody, time is, it might be seconds. We might be rescuing somebody here. That's a different level of hustle that you get out of the guys responding.
I think the closest firehouses is what? Inglewood and Venice, and then
so
Oakwood
Inglewood
and
Venice, and then Venice and Shell, basically. Yeah, Oakwood. Yeah, that's where I work.
That's
right?
not a push there.
So you're actually Wallgrove is the cutoff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's literally the cutoff.
Mar Vista on the
that
other
side of Wallgrove is 62's district.
Yeah.
The west side of Wallgrove, where you guys are, is our district.
Exactly.
Okay?
That was like literally. It's like, is it Venice? And why are they saying Mar Vista? Why are they saying
It's
LA?
literally the
that
cutoff.
street is
that
LA.
side
That's
of
Mar
the
Vista,
street is Mar Vista.
Yeah.
This side of the street is Venice. It's literally the cutoff.
And even the news people couldn't even get the streets right.
Yeah.
You're
And
on
it's hard,
helicopters.
right?
You're a
You're
news
showing
person.
up
How long
to-
have you been doing
So-
it? You don't even know the streets.
So then
Right.
for us, it's just like I said, right? We get the call. Oh shit, car into a house. Now, I can't tell you how many times I got car into a house and we pull up and the car bumped into the curb in front of the house or bumped into the, planter
40
in
feet
front
in.
or
It's in the
something like
driveway.
that, right? Or, grandpa crash into the garage door or something like that. So even car into the house, it's like, okay, cool.
What's
yeah,
car
I mean,
in the house?
hey guys, we got car in the house. The task force is going. When you have something like that though, right? We call it a physical rescue, right? There's a traffic accident, a major traffic accident that might require somebody to be cut out of the car, okay? If we get that initially as something like that, a serious car accident where somebody might have to be cut out, it'll come out as a physical rescue. Now, a physical rescue is a little different, right? You get the nearest task force, right? You might get another engine company, but you also get the heavy rescue, which is like the big ass hook and ladder that they
That's
pull
the one
people
that
off
showed
the
up.
cliffs off and
Actually,
shit, right?
which one? I think the one showed up looking like a tow truck.
Yeah,
Then-
that's what it
so
is.
that's the heavy
And then
rescue.
That was the one
Okay.
that pulled the car out.
It's
Then
like,
you
it's
also-
like a tractor trailer tow truck.
Yeah,
right?
Then you also
Heavy
get
duty.
the USAR rig, the Urban Search and Rescue rig, right? Yeah, especially if you have like structural instability. So you get a car into a house. This is a pretty interesting damn incident, right? Because you've got a medical emergency. Do you need the paramedics for the driver that went in the house? We know we at least have one patient, right? Maybe not. We might show up and they're gone, right? I can't even tell you how many times that's
happens,
happened.
yeah.
You pull up, crazy ass accident. Oh shit, someone's dead in this, and you show up and there's nobody there. What happened? They all took off running. Oh shit. All right. Guess we'll go back to the station. You know what I mean? See if somebody else calls. But on our way there, you have at least one medical patient, right?
Yeah.
We also have the traffic accident, so we might have to cut somebody out of the car or whatever. But now we got a car into a house, right? With smoke showing. At this point, they're giving updates and we have smoke showing. So now we have a structure fire on top of that. But we also have a car into a house. We have structural instability.
Yeah.
Right? That's what USAR will come out and they'll shore up walls and shit like that when we have an incident where there's structural instability.
None of that's running through my mind by that point.
Right. You're
None
just
of it.
holding the
I mean,
hose, wondering where this fool's shoes are.
I'm pretty sure the firefighter the first guy that pulled up, I'm sure they didn't even get the call that there was a fire. I'm sure when they got the call, it was just car into
So
the house.
Anytime, so then that's another thing, right? You talk about fire extinguishers, right? That's another thing too. Like when we pull up to a traffic accident, let's say, there's always a chance one of the cars is going to be on fire. Now, when you're talking about traffic accidents, not only is there a chance that the car's on fire, but there's a big chance that there's people trapped inside of that car that's on fire. So now when you pull up to a traffic accident and there's a fire, let's say you pull up to a traffic accident and there's no fire, right? We're going to cut somebody out of a car. You pull a protection line, right? So one guy's job is to pull a line off of the engine, hook it up, get water to the nozzle, and stand there with the protection line, right? Just in case when we're cutting somebody out, a fire breaks out, we have it right there, right? We also have a dry chem fire extinguisher, which is just like, it's basically baking soda, right? Yeah. That we take out there, and we have it on standby just in case we need to use it. That takes time to do. Pulling up on scene, the engineer's got to put the rig in neutral, put the pump on, put it back in drive, get out. He's got to get the hose, hook it up to the rig, make sure see how much how much pressure you need to the nozzle. Boom, you got to pull the line out. You got to get the nozzle set up. Give me water coming. Okay, that takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you're sitting in a car and you're trapped and the car's on fire and you're burning up, do you want to wait 3 minutes for somebody to set up a fucking hose line to come and put the fire out to get you out? No. Yeah. So that's something that we think. When I say that we have to be prepared for every scenario, that's like one of the things you get asked as a rookie. Yeah. Well, what if we pull up right now, the car's on fire, someone's screaming inside, it's licking on their, what are you going to do right now as a rookie? Fuck, I don't know. You know, it's your second week on the job on the engine.
She got lucky too because she missed that fire hydrant that was literally a foot or inches from where she blew by.
That would have added a whole nother angle to this incident, right? We would have had a flooding.
Water from
now we don't have water. Now we got to shut that hydrant off because that could flood the entire incident. The hydrant shut off's in the street. Now that's flooded. We got to find it. That's a whole nother thing, right? So this is a crazy incident, right?
Yeah, it is, and it goes back to what you're saying about. The MDT is completely wrong 40% of the time, or they couldn't have known at that time.
So let me finish this thought real quick.
Civilian doesn't know.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, what we do is if we pull up and there's a fire and there's people trapped inside, me as a nozzleman, I'm going to run out and grab that dry chem fire extinguisher, but we got a big one, right? And I'm going to stick it in the window of that car and I'm going to empty the whole thing in that car, okay? What that baking soda basically does is it acts as a suppressant for that fire. So you fill the entire cab with it. That way, even if the engine compartment is going and it's starting to lick through like the air vents and shit like that, the cab is filled with it. It's going to suppress that at least for the 2 minutes that we can get this line into operation, pry that hood open and stick the line in there and get water in there to put the fire out.
That's sort of what I was like waiting for, right? Yeah. So when that fire is going, yell out fire, grab the hose, brother, go get an extinguisher. He runs around. Where do you want me? Try see if there's an opening. People are coming out. Of course, it's starting to fill up with smoke. I'm trying to put as much water onto that fire as possible. Yeah. I start to see it go down, a bunch of smoke. And all I can think is, let me see how much of this fire I can get down until the fire department shows up, just to try to save that person that's inside the car. I don't know who it is. I don't know it's Anne. Yep. I just know that it's a person that's in the car. And that smoke, I can't.
Nobody knew at this point.
Nobody
who was in that car. Or what the hell?
People thought it was a dude.
Yeah,
we know it's a person that was conscious enough to say.
Yeah. They're alive.
Yeah, they're alive. They're breathing.
Yeah, that's all it takes, right? So then that's what I'm putting in. Fire department shows up. I still had that water on the hose already. By that time, I walk out. I couldn't breathe anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know how you guys do it, but I cannot breathe.
Yeah, the guy walked up. The firefighter that walked up first. He as soon as he saw it, he's like, "I need a mask."
Yeah,
he knew instantly that there's no way you're gonna run in there with no mask. It's just so black.
And we're there telling them, look, there is still a person in the car.
Yeah.
What car? The car that's inside the house. You cannot see anything.
And let me just say this, man. Let me just say this: fires take off quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay? Especially when you have an accident like that.
A lot of fuel.
You get a bunch of fuel bunched into one spot. I'm sure that there was something leaking in there. That's probably what caught fire in there. Those things take off fast. So when you talk about your effect on this incident, getting a hose line out and suppressing that fire for even 1 or 2 minutes, man, you don't know, like you don't understand, like literally how much you actually did to hold that back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, to hold that fire and very possibly save that woman's life, man. So it's amazing that you did that, especially considering, most of the time when people die in fires, it's the smoke that kills you.
Yeah.
It's not the fire. You don't burn up, you die of smoke
inhalation. And that's sort of what it was, right? So I'm continuing to hold that. I see them setting up. I don't stop. I don't stop because I know there's still something going on.
Sure.
And I know exactly where it's at because I
Sure.
seen where it was coming from, right?
Yeah.
So I'm keeping that water going where it's at, and I'm trying to direct the guys that are there. They're trying to set up, and I'm letting them know, hey, there's a person in there.
Yeah.
And at that point, there's nothing more that I can do other than just hold that water and try to breathe what I can without that smoke in my face. And that's when you see that picture. You just see me just standing there. Yeah, it looks funny that I'm just standing there holding this little bitty water hose.
Yeah.
But like you say,
It's doing a lot.
It could
Yeah.
be a second. It could be a couple of seconds.
Made a
whatever it
huge
takes.
difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why we thought it was important to do an episode about this too, because this always happens and we don't really talk about it that much.
Yeah.
But bystanders make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy event for you guys. You're having a regular day. You didn't expect nothing like this to happen.
know.
You know what I mean? You're going to go and, save somebody's life, save somebody's house possibly.
And it's a really good example of why it's important, especially if you're a parent, to take a damn first aid and CPR class. In this instance, obviously, you guys didn't have to use those skills, but you never know when you're going to be in a scenario where those skills were going to come in handy.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing that saves lives, man.
Yeah.
You can
make a
bravery
difference.
obviously is one, but knowing how to do CPR, knowing basic first aid, how to stop bleeding and stuff like that. You never know when you're going to be chilling at the house getting ready for a vacation and somebody crashes their damn car through a house.
Even the first thing we talked about, effectively calling 911, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
The first best thing, easiest thing you can do as a bystander,
So from the fire department standpoint, and we're going to do another episode with some of the guys that were that responded to this incident, just to talk about like the technical aspect of the firefighting side of this, because like I said, a lot of different angles to this that all of them needed to be addressed at some point in the incident. But I was off duty this day. Mom actually texted me midday and was like, "Are you on Walgrove?" And I was like, "No." And anytime Mom texts me, I know there's a helicopter going around or something. She always texts me asking, what's going on. And she goes, "No, there's some big accident on Walgrove." And I go, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll see what's going on." And I started texting people and stuff, right? Because I run the Instagram. So if there's anyone that has pictures and shit, I like to get it. And then I started getting a real idea of what was going on here. I was like, holy shit, this is a serious freaking incident.
Yeah.
But when they pulled up, the cars inside, they were, obviously you guys told the firefighters, paramedics that there was somebody trapped inside, and essentially the car went into the house. It took out what was probably a bearing wall on the inside.
Two bearing walls.
Because of the lumber that was in there. You guys were saying big lumber, but it wound up kind of on the side where you couldn't open the passenger door to get in there, and the driver door was too fucked up to open without popping it, and it was too tight in there. And there was so much stuff because she went through the living room and shoved that entire wall into so
there.
everything was like collapsed onto each other.
Couch on the side where that person could have been sitting.
They couldn't get into her. Okay. Thank God, because it came out as a auto into a house. They had heavy rescue attached from the jump. Yeah. So heavy rescue comes from threes.
Yeah, I was saying,
right?
downtown.
So they show up and they're like, "Hey man, we got this lady trapped in there." So heavy rescue brings their big cable from the back, hooks the car up, and pulls the car back out of the front wall into the front yard. Okay. And there's some news footage of them showing that and showing them like trying to get in the car, and everyone's like, "This person's probably dead. The car is all charred and everything." Mm-hmm. And they were able to just open the passenger door, and she was right there.
And again, you never know what you're gonna have to be ready to do. Show up, hey, we got to pull this car out of this house.
Yeah. Heavy U is used to that.
Yeah,
shit,
exactly.
Right?
Like, hey, it's that car. Yeah, get it.
But like, just the things that had to fall into place for her to survive this thing. First of all, not get killed in the accident in and of itself. The fact that she jumped over the rock walls in the foundation of the house that probably would have, ran into the front of her car. She wound up wedged against that wall, and this fire started. She survived the fire. The fire could have killed her. The smoke could have killed her.
There was no doubt in anybody's mind that
she was dead.
We couldn't stand just being outside of the fire, or how she survived at least 30 minutes engulfed in that black smoke.
Man,
there's no way I would have thought that she, from the videos of her just coming back to life on the gurney.
Yep.
That was wild.
That was wild.
Crazy
zombie stuff.
We thought that she was covered because she was dead, and they didn't want the helicopter to see. And next, she just pops up like a zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are right out there.
My daughter was out there. She saw her just flip rub, and she's like,
Oh my God.
She freaked out.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Walking
even the
Dead
news
here.
people on the clips of the news that we
Yeah.
have, they're like, "Oh my God, she's alive!"
Yeah.
Or he's alive. They're
Yeah.
thinking it was a male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the way, again, standing there waiting for everybody to show up and the time that it was taken, to me, it seemed like forever, but again, what do you have to do? What do you have to assess? It's like, where do you hook up to? There's it's just, the home is full of smoke.
Yeah.
Where do I hook up to? You got to be able to hook up to, you can't hook up to the bumper. It's
Yeah.
plastic. You got to rip it right off. All right, let's do it again. Who's going to go back in there?
That's
The house is about
a
to
unique
fall.
one for the heavy rescue guys
Yeah.
too, because
Yeah,
usually
exactly.
they're in there when everything's already settled down, or they'll come in afterwards to pull something out of a building or something like that. Pull a car out from a cliff. It's pretty rare that they're like in there in an emergency situation
In the
to
mix
try
of
to,
the incident,
in
yeah.
a fire.
Yeah.
Pull a car
Seconds
out.
Right?
count, right?
Yeah,
Seconds
like how to
count.
feel trying to, like, you're trying to find something in the dark.
Oh yeah,
You know, trying to
yeah.
hook, what are you going to hook on to?
And that's kind of goes back to what I was talking about, right? Like the
40%.
stories in
Where
the
you
LA
make your
Times
money,
about our salaries and stuff like that. Like that's why these guys that work so much get paid, and why we get compensated the way we get compensated. Because when the shit hits the fan and time is of the essence and lives are on the line, we have to be prepared to mitigate whatever your emergency is, man. It doesn't matter what it is. And it could be the most bizarre, crazy shit that's ever happened, an earthquake that, demolished the whole dam. We gotta look at a situation and a problem and figure it out. Especially when there's lives on the line.
And what's the car holding up? Is it holding up the structure?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
as soon as I hook it up and I pull that car, is the house gonna fall?
So then
All that.
So
yeah.
then those are considerations, right? Because we got guys on the roof, cutting holes in the roof. We got guys further in the structure, That's something that Urban Search and Rescue, even after the incident is completely over, they still need to get in there, look at the structure, see what they need to shore up, see if they need to keep it from collapsing sideways onto the house next door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The incident doesn't end when the fire's out and the people are out of there.
Of course.
It continues on. Yeah, man, it's
Unique.
it's a crazy thing being in this profession, and it's like daunting and overwhelming when you first get into it and you first start doing this, and every call is like, it seems like the most important thing in the world, and you're running through all the scenarios in your head, what could be going on and stuff. It's a crazy thing to have a little bit of time on and realize that you've been into enough incidents that there's really nothing that can surprise you. There's really nothing that can happen that can, like, you know what I mean, that you'll get up and you're like, oh shit, and you're gonna be nervous and
But
not know
you've
what to
seen
do
it
or
all.
something. You've seen it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
After 20 years, it just, I always say this too with acting, right? Like, I do acting on the side and stuff, right? Like, there's no scenario that you're ever going to show me in a script or part that I'm going to play that I haven't had some experience with in my life.
Yeah.
Human trafficking, drug deals, shootings, stabbings, double murders, you name it, dude.
you've been there.
Incinerations, people burned,
A cat in a tree.
kids dead, cats in trees.
Yeah,
From
car in a
here to
house.
there, dude. I've
Yeah.
over 20 years on the fire department in the craziest parts of LA. I've seen it. I've done it. There's nothing you're really going to surprise me with. This one got pretty close. You know what I mean? 80 miles an hour on a residential street, through a house. Nobody killed. Structure fire involved. Auto extrication involved. Instability in the structure involved.
Patient trap.
Patient, all that stuff.
Mhm.
This was a crazy, unique incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the day after the other drunk
Yeah,
driver
that's
incident.
the biggest
Yeah.
deal, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna touch on that, but
It
that's
was like
one thing
LA's
that
going
does
crazy
get
is
me.
how
Yeah.
it felt. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's one thing that does get me.
The
Right?
day
Mhm.
before this incident happened, there was a travel ICU nurse that was drinking at a party, argued with her boyfriend, left the party, and raced down Slauson Avenue 100 miles an hour through a red
Down La
light
Brea, yeah.
and killed 7 people.
Yeah.
Something like that.
6, 7 people.
Yeah.
And she had a scratch
8
on her
others
forehead.
hurt. Yep.
So, it's like I said, man, these
That's-
things are happening more and more, people are getting a lot more, a lot easier getting behind the wheel after they drink,
Getting a little
Mm-hmm.
bolder.
a lot bolder. You have cars that drive themselves now. People feel a lot more safe. You know, you got like lane warnings and stuff when you're veering out of your lane. There's all kinds of technology now that makes it easier to drive, makes people feel a lot safer. Cars have airbags, you know, coming out of their butts. So you feel a lot safer. So the people driving now, it's crazy, man. Yeah. Especially driving emergency. We see the way people drive. You know, I'm driving around all day long, man. People drive freaking crazy.
Crazy.
Be vigilant out there. You know, always look around, know your surroundings. If you see someone driving erratically, just stay away from them. If you can, call it in and let somebody know.
And
you
that's
know,
another thing, right? So who wants to be stopped in the middle of traffic? You got to leave that lane clear. You never know. Traffic's going to be coming down. The light's about to turn green. Do you want to be in the middle of that when somebody does that?
Yep.
You know,
yeah, man.
So you always got to be cautious. You got to be thinking about those things.
It's come to a point where you have to be a defensive driver.
No,
like
really.
everywhere you go, no matter what you're driving.
Yeah.
Especially
now.
Isn't it actually in training, like for your drivers there, you're actually not supposed to be in the middle of the intersection to make your turn. You're actually supposed to be at the line until you're safe to turn, because either one, you're blocking a fire ambulance or an emergency, or someone barreling down.
Dude, like Epic Kinney. You'd be surprised how many people just pull into the center and park, go run in to get their coffee. And now here we come on our way to an emergency at the beach, and people are supposed to pull to the right so we can drive down the center.
Okay.
Right? And now we can't. We got this dumbass, you know, Honda Civic parked in the center. You know,
my latte.
You know, and I'm trying to get everyone to get away. So
$10 latte.
Just be mindful, people, of how you drive, not only of yourself and how you drive, but of all your surroundings and the people around you.
Yeah.
There's poor people in that incident that were killed, you know, the day before this incident. Thank God, you know, Anne Heche didn't kill the lady that was in her house, but she lost her whole house, all her belongings. Right. You know, that burned up in fire. She lost everything in this because of a drunk driver. You know, we've got the history in 63s of the Georgia fireman that was killed, you know, at Ocean in Washington a few years back.
Drunk drivers.
Drunk driver.
It's insane. Drunk drivers are street racers, you guys.
So listen, folks, we're getting close to winding it up here, but if you take anything from this episode, number one, take that heroes do exist.
Oh yeah,
and they sit right here.
They wear flip flops,
and their last name is
seriously
Martin.
though, man. You stepped up, dude. You did some real shit there, man.
You really did, man.
Real man shit,
Holding
dude.
back
You went
that
into
fire,
a dangerous situation
you know?
without anything. You got a freaking garden hose. You know what I mean? Saving celebrities. You don't even know it's a celebrity.
Yeah, I did. I mean,
you had no idea.
It doesn't feel that way, you know. Again, it felt like I was just watering the lawn, but. You know, you don't feel that.
Nah,
you know,
dude, that's hero shit.
Yeah, you don't think the structure's about to fall on you. You don't think that the car is about to explode.
Yeah,
you just in the moment.
Yeah, you get locked in.
Okay, there's a fire. What do? You try to put it out.
Remember this face. All right, you see this guy in a restaurant, pay for his dinner. All right, yeah.
Thank God you guys were there, man. I want to plug Fabian. Do you want to plug your business real quick? Maybe give out your information.
Yeah, sure.
This is shout outs time, buddy.
This is your opportunity, bro.
I'm do residential and commercial solar for my neighborhood. You know, something I got into, and just knowing the way of the future. I came from the automotive industry, knowing with electric cars where they were going, and now I transferred to going solar for residential homeowners and commercial buildings to help them see that as we've seen it in cars, and knowing that California is forcing the car dealerships to go electric by 2035. So they're doing the same thing for homes. So I thought I'd.
And you're with Power Solar, who we have a history with.
Yeah, that's our old sponsor.
We used to be sponsored by Power.
That's right.
And Power did, you know, all of my solar at my house.
What's your IG? Tell me your IG.
Yeah, give them where they can find you
at Fabian in Venice.
All right.
And you can catch me there.
All right. Beto, any socials or anything you want to promote or anything like that?
My brother right here, man.
Right,
you know, without him, who you have, you know, that's
perfect.
That's what do you call it? My co-pilot right there.
You call it back in the day your road dog.
Your road dog.
Road dog, yeah.
So people want to follow you, they just got to catch you in the hood one day?
That's it, man.
Yeah,
Hoagies. Picture me rolling.
Picture
me rolling.
All right.
You guys can follow me at DannyGonzo34 on Instagram and Twitter.
Follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben9Humor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow our show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at PRC Podcast on TikTok. You can also email us if you want to find out how to get in touch with Beto. Contact prcpod@gmail.com.
You guys follow our sponsors, CBD Living Water, at CBD Living Water on Instagram. They're an awesome company. Check them out. And Planted.
Yeah, it's at Get Planted. Again, there's no vowels in there. PLNTD. Very cool.
Is there a vowel in get?
There's an E in get.
Okay,
I guess.
okay.
Yeah, they didn't.
So
they
there's-
didn't. They
there's
didn't
one
totally
valve in
go
there.
with yeah. I guess.
Not
Yeah.
implant.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for all of the messages of support too that we get. You know, we get. I just wanted to mention this before we leave. We get some great DMs and messages from guys all around the country thanking us for the podcast and letting us know that it helped with their interview or help them get hired or help them through paramedic school. Man, I love getting those messages. We just kind of make this thing and put it out every week, and to hear and from you guys and to hear from listeners that you guys are enjoying what you're listening to and what we're putting out, and that we actually helped you to promote or something like that is just amazing,
cool.
man.
And also, that being said, if there is something that you want us to cover, like in a how-to episode that we haven't done yet, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email.
Yeah, for real.
But thank you all so much for listening. Please continue to listen, subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and just help us grow this podcast. We really appreciate you all, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And the last thing, Brent, the guy that does our song, has a new EP.
Yeah,
Right?
Brent
Or new
Urban.
album.
Check him out.
Yeah.
Brent Urban, URBN. All right.
All right.
Later.